What is up, everybody? It is Crazy Horse 6, and I'm bringing you another video. This time, let's talk about alliance duel points or versus points, as we sometimes call them. Look, to be smart in being successful in alliance duel, you have to know when to push and when to conserve. And a lot of people walk into the alliance duel with a bit of an ego and want to try to beat every single alliance they get to. Uh, and that take it from us. We came into 788 after server transfer, ended up going from Gold League to Diamond League, and then won all 4 weeks in Diamond League, pushed into what we think is probably a Diamond League on steroids, and then got completely demolished. And part of that is because we pushed way too hard for really 8 straight weeks, and then just had nothing left in the gas tank to keep going. So you see, Alliance Duel leagues are broken into 4 week segments. Each league runs for 4 weeks. You really, in order to stay in your current league, just need to win 2, and you're safe. So sitting here in Diamond League, bottom 5 get relegated. We've already won week 1. We are about to win week 2. We really could phone it in for the rest of the time. However, these are actually conserve weeks for us. We have not been pushing very hard for the last 2 weeks in a row, and we have a lot of people who have a lot of resources they want to invest in order to grow stronger. And if you conserve too much, you can really hold back the individual growth of your players, and then as a whole, the growth of your whole alliance. So this is something that good alliances need to manage very carefully. So we're going to go into a week where, yes, we're going to push, but there's still a way to push intelligently, and I want to kind of highlight that here today. And I think this would be super helpful if you are a younger server, newer alliance, you're less familiar with this format, or you're new to the Diamond League and don't know what it takes to stay in Diamond League for an extended period of time for the extra rewards. Remember, losing a week in Diamond League is actually still gives you more rewards than winning a week in Gold League. So it's worth being in Diamond League. But a lot of this is really, I'm going back to my roots here. The whole reason I started this channel was really just to provide tutorials and help for people in my alliance. And then eventually it became, let's provide tutorials and help for people throughout all of server 788. And then y'all started sharing my channel outside of the server. And all of a sudden now I'm providing help and guidance for people from the low hundreds to the 1900s. Someone commented the other day. So, but this is really like, I'm trying to help my own alliance here understand what we're going to be doing this coming week when we're in a push week, but we're still trying to do it intelligently. So first off, let's talk about where you can get free points right off the bat and establish a floor as you try to work your way towards getting those 7.2 million points per day. And I'm going to use some assumptions here. So I'm going to assume that your radar level refreshes 12 tasks every 6 hours. I think mine does 13. I think as you get higher and higher levels, you get more. I can also hold 40 tasks ready to go. I think that is pretty standard. Once you're probably like maybe like end of season 3 and beyond, it might be a slightly lower, maybe it's 36 tasks until then, but it's about there. I'm also going to be more conservative though. I'm going to assume you only have 3 squads available. You don't have the 4th one unlocked. I'm going to assume the natural regenerate for stamina, and that you're only using just 100 free stamina points per day. And keep in mind, on the days where you get versus points for stamina, you could be saving up and burning a lot more for very easy points. I'm also assuming a relatively low points bonus from the Alliance Duel research tree. So this tree in here is minus, my R5 is still yelling at me about this, minus 93%. I still don't get all the bonus points for recruitment day, for build day, research, troop training, and kills. I should probably bump these up as I can, but all my Valor badges have been going into mastery research. I'm assuming that this is not maxed out. I'm assuming that you haven't added the additional truck, which I think is in the truck research here. You get the ability to add the extra truck. I'm going to assume that you still only have 4 trucks. So relatively conservative assumptions that will actually work for people in much younger servers that are still sitting in season 1 or 2. So let's kick it off. Day 1. This is your radar day. So you've got 40 saved radar tasks that you've hopefully have saved up all from Saturday night. I'm assuming you're in the United States, but really from, say 4 hours before reset on Saturday on day 6 throughout day 7. And then you're going to hit your 36. You actually get 48 daily regen, but realistically, you're probably not going to be able to use 48 unless you time it absolutely perfectly. So I'm gonna assume 36 daily regen. That's 2.25 million points right there, just doing the free stuff, just your radar. And then your 388 stamina per day is going to get you another 150,000 points or so. And then you're gathering. Look, you've got, assuming 3 squads, you can gather about 1,000 iron or food per minute. And I'm actually undercutting this as well. I'm saying you can gather for 18 hours. In reality, what you can do is you can throw your squads into the mines on day 7 on Sunday before reset. And if they're gathering for 7, 8, 9 hours prior to reset, and then they come back after reset, you're getting all those points too. So it's actually not unheard of to have more than 24 hours of gathering on day 1. But even at 18 hours, that's 1.62 million points. This is one of the easier days. This is like the higher floor days. So that's 4.03 million points. And there's a few other ways you can make up that last 3.2 million you need to open up all your chests. My recommendation is you save up your stamina on other days and you burn your stamina on this day. One, you get more resources from running rallies. Your alliance gift level goes up, and your alliance members also get gifts every time you run a Doom Elite rally, which is great. And then you're burning your stamina and you're getting really free points for it, free versus points. And then you also have your drone parts, your chip chest. Now remember, I'll go real quick and we'll talk about the drone. So at a certain level, these things really stop giving you additional benefits. I could upgrade this right now and I would get very, very minor power increases as I go on these critical stage upgrades. Very, very minimal. Even if I go from 226 to 227, again, a bare minimal blip in additional power. So unless you're going, if you still have like a 125 level drone, if you take it from 125 to 130, yes, you're going to see a nice power boost. But you're really only seeing increases in power between 145 to 150 and 195 to 200, 245 to 250. And in fact, the increase you get from power in your drone after level 200 is extremely low. So this is one of those things where unless you actually need the points, you can save these up. You don't have to dump all of your drone parts into your drone every single week. All you need to do is just the bare minimum enough to get your 7.2 million points. And the same thing with chip chests. The way the chip chests work is you get these big boosts. And I did a whole video on this before, and I can link it right here in the corner. But you get your most points at certain ascension levels. So you can see the major ascensions. So from going from 1 to 2 stars is a big boost, and from 4 to 5 is a big boost. Other than that, the value increases are relatively marginal, and you might open up 6 chip chests and you can't even go from 1 to 2 stars. So unless you're close to an upgrade, you can save. You don't have to open up all of your chests at once. That's a good way of saving. So even on a push week, if I'm not anywhere close to being able to send any of my chip chests, I'm still going to open up a limited number unless I come in here to my, well, eventually that will open. Unless I come in here to the alliance duel and I look and my opponent is pushing and I need the points, then yeah, go by all means, open everything up. But that doesn't have to be until the end of the day. Remember, a lot of this stuff, like I would use the drone parts first during your drone arms race, your drone boost arms race, and then you can go back at the end of the day and you can look at how many chip chests you have and open those up, because those aren't going to give you arms race points. All right, flipping back to day 2. So secret tasks and trucks are the easy free ones here. At lower headquarters, you're getting 6 gold tasks and 4 trucks. So a bare minimum of 1.7 million points. If you're at a higher headquarters level, you're getting 9 secret tasks, or you have the truck research unlock, you get 5. That bumps it up by 600,000 points or so. So you can increase your floor pretty significantly. And then you have survivor recruitment. So look, you get 60 of these in the Alliance store if you want to buy them. They're relatively cheap, good use of campaign points. And then I'm factoring in, you typically get like, I don't know, 10 per day throughout the week. There's other places you can buy them in the VIP store as well. It's not a huge, you're not going to make or break anything with the survivor recruitments. And because they factor into your base growth, and you might have a survivor you can upgrade that actually helps you grow faster. I don't really recommend holding on to these week over week. You know, 500,000 points with just what you get. Now, if you do hold on to a bunch, let's say you have you unwrap a headquarters and you immediately get all your 7.2 million versus points, and you're in a conserve week. Yeah, those survivor recruitment tickets are really easy to hold on to for the next week for when you need to push, and that's an extra 500,000 points if you need to push. Good way to make up the remaining points is just completing your safe building. So a lot of times you will save your buildings in their gift wrap prior to day 2, and you'll just pop them on day 2 when you're in your arms race window. That's the best way. You can also, of course, you're still using speed ups or completing other research on that buildings on that day. That's another good way of doing it. And then, of course, if you're further along, if you're at the end of season 4, your season 4 celebration and beyond, you get your T11 training, and that's a great way to make up that additional 7.2 million and not burn through speed ups on this day. Flipping to day 3, the research day. Going back to radar tasks, just like we did with the with day 1, that's 2.25 million points. So you really have about 5 million points left to go on this day. The priority here to make up all the remaining points, if you are doing T10 research or you're working on mastery research, you're golden. Just start your research with Valor. In fact, a lot of times I start recommending that, especially as your Valor gets lower, to only run Valor research on Wednesdays. Really easy way to get points. Of course, you can complete research on this day as well. And then, of course, you've got the drone component chest. Now, I actually haven't used drone component chest in a little bit just because we have, I think actually I did use them last week now that I look at my my stores, but those are a good way of saving up and using those for a push week. Again, just like the skill chips, you reach a certain point where you can open up all of your chests and you're not going to make a meaningful difference. If I could have 10 level 5 radar components, and I need to get to 40% here before I see any meaningful power increase. It's not going to do anything for me. Now, if you're sitting at level 4, level 5, and you open up 10 of them, yes, that's gonna bump you up quite a bit. I'd say so if you're not super close, even if you're on a push week, as long as you're not losing to your versus opponent, you've gotten your 7.2 million points. Those are something you can save for later and not make a significant impact on slowing down your growth or your power. It's not going to make a meaningful difference this Saturday during Buster or in the arena. Day 4, Hero Day, everybody's favorite day. Really, the only free stuff you get here is your hero ticket. So you can save these free pulls down here. They reset depending on. I got some free ones right there waiting to go. I'll save those for the next arms race, and that'll be a little bit less that I have to spend. So you've got those 3. And then you get various hero tickets throughout the week. You get 60 in the campaign store, just the bare minimum. That 63, that's 270,000 points. From the rest there, you're going to make this up with your skill medals, your hero shards, and your EW shards. The reason why I put them in that particular order is because if you look at at skill medals, when you invest skill medals, they're not like upgrading gear where you upgrade gear in groups of 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, and then you have the diamonds and you invest in blueprints. Skill medals are investable in any order. You don't really unlock like additional buffs, or you don't have some big increase because you hit level 20 versus 15. So skill medals are an easy thing to just dump in and forget and get a lot of points that way. I'll say the next piece for hero shards is if you are early, younger server, and you're still trying to work all of your heroes up to 5 stars. The priority here is getting heroes that are actually in your squads to 5 stars. And then if you have like Elsa here, she is not in any of my squads. If I had a whole bunch of Elsa specific shards, I can save those. If I don't need the points for them, I can save them for future verses that I do need to dump a whole bunch of points, and I don't have to push it. So hero specific shards first, and then your universals are always the last one to be saved. And then I've already done. I'll link another video up here in the corner here on the Wall of Honor and how to maximize your Wall of Honor points using hero specific shards first, always upgrading up in increments of 50 until you get to 200, and prioritizing your main squad. I go into more detail in that video, but that's your next piece there is can you invest in your Wall of Honor, and can you go from, can you push somebody from, I got step in here, can I go from 100 to 150 and get those points? Because that'll actually, like I said, the incremental gain you get from going from 100 to 101 is nothing. Even the incremental gain you get from going from 100 to 149, it isn't the same as going from 149 to 150. So you're upgrading in increments. If you can't upgrade in an increment, that's not where you should be pushing your upgrades unless you desperately need the points, because it's not gonna slow down your growth or set you up for failure in your power. And then the last one here is exclusive weapon shards. So come here to someone I know I haven't maxed out. So again, EWs are all in increments of 10. So if you're like, if you have a whole bunch of exclusive weapons, like I've got 196 shards I could add to somebody right now. If I upgraded Williams to 21, it's a blip. It's not going to make an impact in any battles. So why dump them in right now if I don't need the points? So that's where you have to look at, how you're doing each day. And if you don't need the points and you've gotten your 7.2 million, you can hold until you do need to push. And then that's the priority in which you push. Day 5, total mobilization. Again, we're back to radar. You're 2.25 million points. The big one here, troop training. I will do a separate video later on chain training or batch training. But that is where you can get so many points for nothing. I have not sped up any research. I haven't sped up any buildings. I haven't done anything else. And you do have the Overlord too. But I'm sitting here at 58.5 million points, and that's just purely based off of some Overlord upgrades that I much needed and I had to do, and batch training for the troops. I think the other piece here is you could save up if you have some buildings that were completed since your building day, and they're sitting in the gift wrap. Hold on to those until Friday, and then you can pop those on total mobilization day to get the versus points there. And then of course you've got your Overlord upgrades. Again, though, just like with everything else, there are more impactful upgrades than others. You can dump the skill medals in, no problem. That's fine. And then, but from a certificates level, and then the bond badges, these are relatively minor. And if you save these up for a couple weeks until you have until you need a push week and you need the points, then it's not going to be the end of the world. And then finally, enemy buster day 6. You've got your secret tasks in your trucks. Those should be 100% gold, and you'll pull in 2.25 million points from that. The other way you make up these points is this is actually the worst day to try to complete research or complete buildings, because you don't get any points for actually completing the building or completing the research. Whereas if we come here to day 5, you can see that you get, so if you increase building power or you increase tech power, you get points for that, as well as the speed ups. But if we back up here to enemy buster, you get points for using speed ups, but no points for actually increasing building or tech power at all. So like, this is actually a really bad investment. The best way to earn points on enemy buster day is by going out and killing. And you get the most points for killing your rival alliance units, but you get other points for just killing any other unit, even on your own server. I'm not saying you should be doing that, but and then you get units, kills for units lost. And if you have to use some healing speed ups, you can pick up points that way. So that's how you should be getting all your points. Sunday is an off day, but Sunday around midday, you get 10 to 12 hours from reset. You should be trying to find those larger mines that you can be sitting in and bring those troops back right after reset to really jumpstart your points for the very next day, for day 1, as you start all over again. All right, hope that is helpful. Let me know what I missed, and if there's anything that you do in particular to help you conserve points or push. But remember, you can push without completely expending all of your resources. It's important to be smart, even when you're in a push week. That's all I got. Talk to you guys later. Crazy War 6 out.
Hell yeah!
And heads up, don't just make a bunch of content. Like, actually go and do something.
Be sure to like and subscribe, guys.